Good morning, Meridian. Thank you for joining us today for our edition of Business Buzz. I'm Marlene Robinson, the Director of Development and Marketing for the Meridian Chamber of Commerce and your host today for our program. It is one of our goals here at the Chamber to promote and share our member businesses with the community. And today I am excited to introduce you to the Executive Allies. Co-founders Nate Schrant and Sharon Popple are here to tell you today all about the services that they provide for the businesses here in Idaho throughout the Treasure Valley. Welcome to Business Buzz, Nate and Sharon. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having us, Marlene. So my name is Sharon Popple, and I'm a co-founder of Executive Allies. Over the last 16 years as a CPA, I've had the opportunity to work with 5 different public accounting firms, and I've performed all accounting tasks, including bookkeeping, payroll, individual and business tax returns, as well as financial statement preparation and audit. Most recently, I've been working with a regional accounting firm and specializing in audit. All of this experience has given me a strong background in accounting, but also key insight into best practices at small to mid-sized companies. I've worked with a broad range of industries, but I have focused expertise in agriculture, construction, and real estate. I was born and raised on a dairy in southern Idaho, which has given me a strong work ethic, as well as firsthand knowledge of what it takes to run a small family-owned business. Now I have 3 daughters of my own, and they're 2, 8, and 10. I have an amazing husband, Derek, and a dog named Bacon. Now I'll turn it over to Nate so he can share a little bit about himself.
Thanks, Sharon. So I started my career at KPMG, one of the big 4 accounting firms, and I made it to senior manager there. And while I was there, I primarily worked on some large public companies. And through that experience, really gained a good sense of what the control structure should be and how to structure controls to prevent fraud and things like that. So after I left KPMG, I became a controller. I was controller for 3 companies that were mid-size to large, and one was public company. And through that experience, I really, strangely enough, found a passion for the non-financial side of the business. And through the non-financial side, I really, loved the understanding what the revenue drivers were, what makes the business tick, and getting outside of the financial statements. On the personal side, I grew up in Caldwell, Idaho. I'm married and have 2 kids that are 9 and 7, and a 13-year-old golden retriever who's with me today. And if you hear any snoring in the background, it's probably her.
I love that you both have dogs. I have one too. And at this whole, work from home stage, we never know when they're going to bark. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Weird noises. Thank you. You both obviously have had very successful careers. You are highly credentialed in your field. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about why you decided to start this company? Why was creating the Executive Allies important to you?
Yeah, that's a great question, Marlene. And for me, it started a couple years ago. I was working during busy season, and that just meant crazy hours for my team and I. And I was assigned an agriculture client that I had worked on in previous years. And so usually that meant we would be able to get in and out really quickly. But this particular year, they were between controllers. And so when they wound up providing us their information, they gave us their trial balance and their supporting documentation. And when we looked at the 2, the number that they had on their trial balance was $3 million different than the number that they had on their supporting accounts receivable detail. The client was unable to figure out where that difference was. And so they were unsure whether or not their trial balance was wrong or their accounts receivable system was wrong. So for one, this blew my mind that a client could just be unsure whether or not clients owed them $3 million or not. In the end, we were able to track down that difference, but it wound up having to involve multiple people on my team and the owner of the company, as well as their IT department. And needless to say, this cost the client over $20,000 in extra fees and about 3 months in time sorting out this mess. That made them have to get a bank waiver to extend the time to file their financial statements and they had to extend their tax return. So frustration all around. Had they had somebody in place, such as Executive Ally, somebody that was consistent, and they had standard operating procedures for reconciling their accounts on a monthly basis, and an experienced person training their accounting team, this situation could have been prevented. And so I knew then that there had to be something in the marketplace and someone to provide that service for companies like this. And I know Nate has a similar story that's from the corporate side.
Yeah, so when I joined the corporate ranks as a controller, when I joined the first company as a controller, I noticed that their financials were being prepared by an external firm. And this firm was charging like $40,000 for them to provide quarterly financial statements. So 4 financial statements a year, $10,000 a piece. And it was just a piece of paper. There was no, financial analysis or ratios or, accuracy checks or anything like that. So I just thought like there is a space where somebody can provide that piece of paper, but then also the value that goes behind it. And I thought that, there's a great opportunity there to provide value at a lower cost than $40,000 for a piece of paper.
So it sounds like really a lot of your focus and mission for both of you has been around providing value, reducing costs and expenses for businesses and for your clients. And that's a really great mission, a really great reason to do what it is you do. Would you help our audience understand how they can engage you? What does it look like when they hire you, and what kinds of services do you provide?
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of services. So we actually thought it might be easier to show a list, and we've got a little presentation here that just goes through some of those things that we have. So the level, which is kind of like the basic level, we call it the financial guidance level. And that's basically capturing an accurate financial picture on a monthly basis of your company. And we translate those numbers then after the end of the close to help you make better business decisions. And the key part about this service is that meeting once per month where we discuss your financial results. But we don't just regurgitate the numbers. We go into, like I said, like the non-financial type of information to understand like why the results are the way they are. And I think the other part of this service is also just the basic service gives you that peace of mind that you've got another person who is overseeing your accounting department, holding your bookkeeper or your accounting staff accountable, and setting up controls to prevent fraud from occurring. And then the second level is everything in the one before, but then it also includes some really key financial forecasting and an increased level of analysis. And the part about this one that I like the most is that cash forecasting level. And that service is really important for small businesses. With that, you can look 6 months down the road and see if you're going to have an issue making payroll. Any company that is not having any cash forecasting today, I think is just flying blind. So I think that's a huge value add for small businesses. And then the last level is our virtual CFO. And that's basically everything you would get from an in-person CFO. Again, includes the things from the tiers above, but then it also includes 4 meetings a month, which are, so it's a weekly meeting, and they're very honed in. They're not meeting just to meet. They are very focused on a particular topic, and it's more holistic, right? So you've got what revenue drivers, what were the results from your last sales month, and how profitable were those? You've got forecasting. How do we look forward into 6-12 months from now and see what's happening down the road? We also hone in, so it's not just overall business profitability, but it's also profitability at the next tier down. So department, product, service line, jobs, whatever it is, we look at the profitability of each of those components. We look at some reporting. So we do some cool reporting that we do for companies to show some high, ratios and trending and benchmark comparisons, and then banking relationships as well. So that this was kind of an all-in package that really is like having a CFO in-house. So Sharon's going to talk a little bit about our business model and how it works and why you would choose us.
Yeah. So you might be thinking to yourself, you wonder if Executive Allies is going to be the right fit for you. And if you want somebody on your team that can really partner with you in accounting and from a financial perspective of making these business decisions, then the answer is probably yes. If you consider hiring a full-time controller or a full-time CFO that can run companies anywhere from $150,000 a year to $400,000 just in salary, and that doesn't even include benefits or the HR headache that comes along with having an employee. And the subscription-based model that we have ensures that you know what you're going to pay month over month. There's no surprise bill if you pick up the phone to give us a call. And you don't have that uncertainty as to whether or not you should call. The answer is always, well, I have access to you, so I'm going to go ahead and call. And subscription-based service also provides you with ongoing access to experienced CPAs to help you guide your financial decisions with a forward-looking perspective rather than just a historical perspective in nature. So really translating those numbers so you understand them. Also with subscription-based pricing, we develop that relationship that you really need to be an extension of your team. We'll know what makes your company tick so you can be more strategic instead of reactive with your business decisions. So we can also fill in the gaps wherever you need. So you don't have any heartburn over whether or not the numbers that you're making those key business decisions on are accurate. And we can really provide that peace of mind for you to make sure that your business runs as effectively and efficiently as possible.
Thank you so much for sharing what it is you do with our audience. I want to encourage everyone to please follow the Executive Allies on social media, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. I know that you are going to be bringing some training and education awareness to the community, not only to your clients, but really sharing your knowledge and expertise about your field and how to be the financial backbone of the companies that you work with. I am curious to know, what is your ideal client? Who do you want to be working with right now?
Yeah, again, that's a great question. So our target client is going to have somewhere between $1 and $50 million in revenue and about 5 to 100 employees. So our expertise is in the realms of agriculture, construction, real estate, hospitality, SaaS, and retail industries. But really, we're willing to talk to anybody that's in need of a virtual CFO or in need of that financial peace of mind.
Fantastic. I know that there are a lot of businesses in our community who need your services, who need the strength that you can bring to their finance and accounting teams without having the overhead of an annual salary and the benefit expenses that come with an added headcount. So this outsourced subscription-based financial management piece, CPA, CFO, is something that our community is definitely going to be needing. So thank you for bringing your vision to life. Thank you for following your instinct to make this company a reality. And we wish you nothing but the very best success. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having us, Marlene.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Business Buzz. On Thursday, we will be talking with Compass Benefits to learn a little bit about what they can bring to your organization in helping to manage your HR outsourcing needs. If you are a member of the Meridian Chamber of Commerce and you've not yet had your business featured on Business Buzz, we are here to support and promote you. Reach out to me personally at marlene.robinson@meridianchamber.org, and I'm happy to get you on the schedule. Until then, Meridian, make it a great day.